How's it going, guys? Hope you all been well, enjoying your Memorial Day weekend, and in honor of all those who have served us, happy Memorial Day and whatnot. So, apologies for taking a bit of a break, but work and life got in the way, so that's why I haven't been streaming. I was gonna come back Friday, but unfortunately it wasn't in the cards. But I'm back now. We're starting Kingdom Hearts 2 streams, but before that, we're going to get into some FF7R3 stuff. Probably a while since I did a chat, but as usual, this will be a separate thing, and then after this, we're going to get into KH. But before we get into KH2, we're also going to be discussing why the demos are speculating why the KH Switch demos have disappeared from the Nintendo eShop. So we're going to get into that, what Square Enix is brewing. But first, FF7R3. So we got this post here. Hamaguchi says FF7 Remake Part 3 will evolve even further than Remake and Rebirth and focus on offer a new gameplay experience such as the Highwind, which we all know. The most important lesson since, since we have gained from Rebirth was the clearer affirmation that even with a multi-title project, simply recycling the previous game's design isn't enough to sustain the player's excitement for the next installment. This remake series has never been about repeating the same experience. Remake focused on a story-driven experience, while Rebirth made a major shift towards an open world design that utilizes the world map. In the final installment of the trilogy, the game evolves even further, expanding its scale through the highway. By changing and evolving the core experience with each title, we feel we have been able to maintain the interest and excitement of a lot larger number of game fans. And that is true because let me make sure my and that is true because having replay and remake and rebirth were separately. Remake is a very story driven focused game, which I'm happy with because the story of Remake's great, in my opinion. Even greater than Rebirth. Rebirth, I don't want to say the story takes a back seat to the open world design and the world map, but I feel like due to the world map, unless you're focusing on the story mainly, which is you can totally do. Rebirth's story doesn't seem as impactful if you do some of the world design stuff. I don't know. This is just my opinion, but still, Rebirth has a great story in my opinion. But I just feel like Remake's execution is better with that. If you guys know what I'm saying. Yeah. Both were fantastic games. I mean, overall, Rebirth is the better game. It's a high evolution of Remake. Besides the story, anyway. Let's be continue. Reassuring players that the same experience can be enjoyed, avoiding the same repetitive game design are two different things. I feel that can only be built through the acclamation of approaching each title with sincerity and asking ourselves what element needs to evolve. Also, I believe this commitment to steadily building that trust one at a time will encourage people to look forward to future projects, even beyond the remake series. Okay, that's interesting and reassuring at that because you know why? I feel like they are gonna take whatever they built from the remake series. I'm talking remake, rebirth, R3. They are going to put that into future projects. That could be Final Fantasy, mainline Final Fantasies. I'm hoping because I have been a pioneer of saying this is the best and most representative of FF's battle system, the whole remake series with Rebirth's battle system. Not only that, with the towns, the world map, and everything else in it, this to me is the ingredients for a perfect Final Fantasy game. Mainline Final Fantasy game with its hybrid action, spin, and turn-based combat system. Actually, I should say command-based because that's what Square Enix does the best. One of the things Square Enix does the best. And not only that, the story and the world map design. I mean, I would probably take off a few things from the world map with the world intel, but the lore, the side quests, and some of the world intel, I was fine with that. So, and with the addition of the Highwind, I'm looking forward to what they do with not only Part 3, but FF7, but with FF7. Because I do agree, this hybrid system is excellent, and everything else they have introduced in the remake and in Rebirth. And I'm going to get into this article. Lessons learned. We'll get into rebirth section later. I do find that interesting. Okay, so this is a lot of stuff I already said. Chad. So I'll read this last bit. A few years ago, we got dinner when you were visiting New York City, and we asked about my favorite FF7 character. I told you it was Charlie. I mentioned you should make him playable in part three. I'm just checking in on how that's been coming along. Hamaguchi, that was a reset run, which Hamaguchi had the latest interview with. We understand that many fans are fan of Chadley. However, whether he becomes a playable character is something we are unable to comment at this time. That said, Chadley will continue to play an important role even in the final installment of the trilogy. His strong curiosity and tendency to talk a bit too much, inherent traits that he's aware of and somewhat self-conscious about will be further explored in the third game, too. It will make me happy if players warmly follow how Charlie becomes involved in the story and what role he takes in support. Okay, so I've always been fine with Charlie. He doesn't really bother me. I actually like the guy. I mean, how could you not like the guy? He makes you materia. I mean, when you're doing like the battle intel and the world intel stuff, you get some good rewards with Chadley and some great materia. And also the talking too much did bother me at first, especially when he was on you about the proto relics, but I feel like that's calmed down a bit and it just goes to show that Chadley I think Charlie is a much more in-depth character than people realize because he's so curious about the world around him. And I think that's something that a lot of us share. We are curious about the world around us. And also, he's got some storyline with Final Fantasy VII's worst villain, in my opinion. Not Sephiroth, not Genova, but certainly Hojo, because he's the a-hole that is responsible for many things that has happened in the game, whether directly or indirect. So seeing that storyline progress will be interesting. How Chadley, I know he's a cyborg created by Hojo, but and we did get glimpses of the in the proto relic there is a body that's being experimented on by Hojo that's similar to Chadley. So his backstory is going to be very interesting in part three. I wonder if they're going to tie that to when our Avalanche crew goes back to Midgar and then they are trying to stop Hojo from firing the Sister Ray. I wonder if Chadley's going to be a big part of that. Another thing that to mention, and we'll get into KH trophies, but I mean Final Fantasy three's trophies, the platinum one. Hamaguchi did comment that they are going to balance that a lot better. I know some people were not too pleased with the challenges just presented with that. I mean, I'm slowly working my way through that here and there with part three with R3, but with Rebirth. But yeah, I have seen some videos and some reactions from people that the platinum stuff is brutal, very brutal. So there's a better balance of that. And I'm glad to hear that because whew, man. But lots of exciting stuff for FF7R3. Do I think it's going to be at the state of play? I'm not sure. I'm hoping yes, and I'm hoping no, because I think Square Enix is going to have it in the Summer Games Fest and not the state of play. But state of play, it is possible. I mean, they can always announce that it's going to be multi-platinum, but I don't see that anymore with SF7R3 or anything Square Enix does from this point forward. I know Bravely Default, the HD remaster, still kind of throws a monkey wrench in that. Hopefully, those games come to PlayStation, but I don't think this is just my personal prediction, but I'm thinking Summer Games Fest is when we're going to get is where we're going to get FF7R3 trailer, hopefully. And now we're going to get into Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, this is my stuff, and you guys can see. I said here, what does this action mean? Does this action mean what I think it means? And Square Enix removed the demos for the Kingdom Hearts Cloud editions from the Switch eShop in both the US and Japan. And I think it's only a matter of time before Square Enix ports the series natively to Switch 2 in preparation for KH4. Which 4. So my thoughts on that is that KH games are coming to Switch 2. Most definitely. I mean, I think it's crystal clear. If you have played FF7R series, if you have played Cyberpunk from 2077, I don't know if Elden Ring's out yet, but if those games can run smoothly on the Switch 2, I mean, Rebirth has some visual compromises with the world map, but it still held up pretty darn well. And that just goes to show you that it can play Kingdom Hearts 3, no problem. And these older games, it's going to play those smoothly. So I'm super excited for this. I want some native ports. I tried the cloud demos. It's just nah. And that's probably the first time I did not buy a KH game for Switch besides Melody of Memory. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff. And this brings us to today's stream, which I'm so excited about this KH2 final mix. Let's do it. It's next. Let's go. I'm gonna end this one and then we're gonna get into KH2.